Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie, Jessica.
This is all you, boo. You tell them what we're doing.
Okay, we're doing a deep dive into Coveted Cover. So we're going to talk about all the books that have been in Coveted Cover so far for the Nocturna box. So this is a great book rec video for all of you who like dark romance and taboo. Also, fun note, we have these handy dandy checklists that you can print off for all the books that we're talking about. So you can check if you're a subscriber. This is great. You can check which ones you have. Or if you are just wanting to read great dark romance, you can check them off that way as well. I'm doing it because I have a few gaps I need to fill in. And my goal is to do this before we go to Fangirl in September.
Yes. So we're going to go over everything that I've done. And then we have a couple that were outside of the box, but I was the one that curated them. So
these, though, I can't link them into the comment description. So you need to go to our post tab on our channel, and we will have a post when this video comes up that has these graphics. And then you just download the graphics and you can print them off or save them on your phone or computer and mark them off that way, however you want.
Yeah.
So like Mandy said, the graphics. Sorry.
You don't have to be a subscriber to enjoy this video. This video is more about the dark romance, but we're just going to show off what has been in the box and talk about the books that have been, like, we're going to give you the synopsis so that you, if you don't have a subscription, cool. If you don't have a subscription and you see some of these and you want them, there are still some in our overstock sale that is still going on as well on our website, which is covetedcover.com.
And you can also get on the wait list if you're not on the wait list yet, and you can save 10% by using the code MyBestie10.
Which is below, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So on your first
But again, video can be completely enjoyed just for the great book recs for dark romance and taboo.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other little extras. So let's do this.
Yes.
Okay. But how do you want to start us out?
Well, I think we just start at the very beginning. So Black Skies Riviera, you're up.
Okay. So Black Skies Riviera. So our very first box, the first box that was January of 2025, was Catherine Wilcher. Catherine is an author who passed away. It's been over 2 years. It's been almost 3 years now, I think, since she passed away. She was in her 40s. She left behind 2 young kids, 2 young daughters, and her husband. And so the proceeds from that, the money that went to her husband went into an account for her daughters. So these are limited edition because they are actually numbered. We only printed 500 of these. But Black Skies Riviera and the next one we'll talk about, A London Villain, are also, they're both mafia. Catherine was a mafia romance writer. That's really what she wrote in. And this one is about our heroine who is forced into a relationship with this guy. They're on the Riviera. They take his yacht around. I don't remember a ton of what happened in this one. I just know that it is mafia. It is forced marriage. It is hate to love. There's quite a bit of Riviera. Like, this was Catherine's love story to the Riviera because she'd spent some time there with her dad before her dad died of cancer. So loved this one. And I loved making this one. These were the first. And now, like, I go back and I look at them and I'm like, I could have done so much more. We didn't know what I could have done. Like, I love this cover, but I feel like now that I know, like, I could have done more to the cover. Like, I would have spot glossed things. I would have, done that. And these ones are really special because they have letters in here from her husband, which I really haven't read the letter that her husband put in here. I think I've read like the first couple lines because it makes me so emotional. And then there's letters from like BJ Alpha and Cora Kenborn, who was her co-writer, who we'll see at Bray here soon. So there's letters from a bunch of her author friends in here talking about how amazing she is as a person. She was. So then the next one,
A London Villain.
So this is my favorite of the two. as far as the story goes. So this is the series that Catherine was writing in when she passed. And at the end of this one, it sets up book 3, which I think was Viper's book. And it's really sad to me that she passed before we got Viper's book. But this one is a second chance romance set in the mafia world. Our heroine is a ballerina, and our hero has been obsessed with her. Like, he saw her dancing in the window of her home, and when she was younger, and he's just been obsessed with her ever since. And they end up meeting and hooking up one night, and then because she was supposed to marry somebody else, her father finds out, and he damages her legs to where she can never dance again, and they are torn apart. And then we see 14 years later, our hero is getting out of prison, and he is coming back for what's his. And so that is what this one is about. And I love this. We use all illustrators for our covers, with the exception of like 1 or 2, but this one is an illustrated cover. I love using illustrators because I don't have to worry about AI as much with illustrators. AI is always a worry for us. We're very paranoid about it because we are totally anti-AI. And we don't want to get into a situation where unknowingly somebody used AI. If it ever happened, it would be like we had no clue, we couldn't tell. But we use artists that are against AI as well. So if I use an illustrator, there's less of a chance of AI showing up on our books than there is if we use somebody who uses digital or photo manipulation, because the like all of those websites and stuff now where they get those stock images to use for that are just flooded with AI. So we choose to spend a little extra on each book to make sure that we have the best artists, and artists who are also anti-AI. So
And
these
for
ones,
those who might not know,
mhm,
being anti-AI in books is we support real people and real
yes,
art. That's
yes.
why.
Yeah, exactly. So these ones, they have the sprayed edges. There's still some of these available in our overstock sale. These ones don't have character art like our other ones do. They have beautiful end papers. It's just not, they're just not like what you'll see as we get going, I'll have character art in them. When we first started the company, it was hard to get artists who were on reserve, because artists that do character art book out a year in advance. And so I had to wait a little bit of time to get artists that can do that. So that's Catherine Wiltshire's box. I don't even know where to put these.
Okay, so next up we have Road to Nowhere and Ends Here by M. Robinson. That is a duet.
Yes, so this is a duet. This is a photo digital digital covers. These were the last time I think I used digital covers. Nope, there's one more after this. But these are an MC duet. M. Robinson, Monica, is really great about saying yes to everything. She was the first author that I signed on. And so this one is about our heroine who has been in love with the hero since she was a little girl. This is an age gap. It is MC, and we're told we see this kind of in flashbacks. So I think her name was Mia, and she has been in love with this guy. He was her brother's friend since she was a little girl. She's a surfer. She is a little spitfire, and she just gloms onto him and just thinks he is the best thing since sliced bread. And he sees her as a child, obviously. And then we see through flashbacks as she grows up, he goes through 9/11. He loses somebody very important during 9/11. He has some trauma. He's been in the military. He keeps kind of going back and forth. And then one day she shows up at a party at the MC, and some things happen. It's kind of love triangle. You've read it, right? It's kind of got that love triangle because his brother comes into play. She
Yeah.
goes to a party at the MC. She gets pregnant by his brother, and it becomes a thing. There is audio for this. I enjoyed these. Again, these are ones in the beginning that, had I known what I know now after designing books for 2 years, I would have spot glossed the petals. I would have done so much more than what we did. Now, we did do a great job. I do love these. I love the hands reaching. I love the petals. But now that we've been in this for a while, and I say we, meaning me and my business partner, Stacy, now I would do a little bit different. Let's put it that way. Like I would do something different with these, as far as like spot glossing some things and foiling some other things. But it was very early on, so I did. But these are still available in the sale as well.
Okay. Take Me With You by Nina G. Jones.
This is one of my favorite books ever. Okay. And I love this cover. This is where I was like, oh, I can spot gloss things. Okay, let me do that. So what you can see on these, like you've got like all the little thorns or the branches and stuff are spot gloss as well. So they stand out. So this is Take Me With You. So this is set in the 70s. This is about our heroine who I think she's in nursing school. She's a nurse. She's in nursing school. She's dating a guy who is in medical school, and our hero Sam. We use that term very lightly because obviously this is dark. But Sam is a peeping Tom kind of. So his whole thing is he breaks into houses of couples. He'll stalk a couple, one particular couple that he finds, and then he will put like over the weeks of him stalking them and learning their routines, he sneaks into their house and he'll leave things in their house like duct tape and rope and things that he uses for his trade of torturing these people. And then he'll get to the culmination of that night and he breaks in. He will tie up the man, and then he will give that man an option. Either he murders the girl or he rapes the girl. And so he is not a good guy, and he gets off on this. This is a huge thrill for him. And so he sees our heroine at a grocery store one day. She has a brother that has cerebral palsy that she takes care of, and Sam, our hero, is mute. And he the way she treats her brother, he's just like enamored. Like he's just like, she's going to be his next victim. She's got a boyfriend. It's a thing. And one night she breaks into their house. When the boyfriend is staying over, her parents are gone. Her mom's gone and she's taking care of the brother. And he starts to do his whole thing where he's tying the guy up. He takes her to a bedroom to do his thing to her. And her brother wakes up and she freaks out because the brother finds them. And she just says, "Take me with you." So this is a captor-captive situation. And he does keep her captive for quite a while. So, but I love this book. This is one of my top all-time favorite books. I love this book so much. It's very dark though, but I mean, there's our Sam back there. So, and this is just, I just love the edges on these two. So then what's next?
Next is Debt by Nina G. Jones. This was one of my favorite ones that you did. I just love all the gold and the dripping rose. But it's also the first book that we get to on the list that I have not read and I need to do it.
Yeah.
So
okay. So I'm gonna say
with quite the reading list of books that I need to get through.
So Debt is another one that, like, hindsight 2020, if I knew then what I know now. Yes, as far as like the cover, because what I had wanted originally when I had talked with the designer, this is the last one that we had that was a digital cover with the exception of the ones that are outside of the box. I wanted each individual snake scale spot glossed where it was broken up and not like over, like how it's just the snake scale. I want each individual. And it didn't happen that way. Now I would push for it that way. But this one it's gorgeous. It's also the first one that we had our very first piece of character art in for the Nocturna side. So this one is about our hero is stalking our heroine. He is a stalker. He is stalking her to get revenge. And he ends up becoming her boss at some point in the book, and torturing her at work. He blackmails her at work. In the beginning of the book, she is told by her friend. So her friend is involved in this sex club situation, and her friend gives her a business card, which is what is on the cover here, is the business card. And it is to the black web, and she can go there and she can actually fill out this form and give certain dates, and it's for a simulated rape situation to happen. Like if that is her thing, like that is like she hires this guy to come and do that for her. She gives specific dates where he can show up, and she doesn't know when they're going to show up, when or where, but she's paid for this. This is going to happen. So this guy breaks into her house. He's wearing the mask. He simulates that. He has sex with her. And then a few days later, and she sees like he's got like tattoos on his neck that are snakes. And so they're very significant tattoos. And then a few days later, she ends up getting this guy like comes to her and gets in contact with her, and he is the one who was hired to rape her, or have this simulated situation. And she realizes that the person she was with was not the person she hired. This was somebody who actually broke into her house. And so that then she realizes, she meets her new boss and realizes that that is this guy. He ends up manipulating her into blackmailing her into a relationship, and we just kind of go from there. Very dark, very yummy. And it makes me sad that Nina doesn't write anymore, because now I will say these first 3 sets of books were a huge heartache for us, and we have talked about that. They all came damaged in some way, shape, or form, and we want our books to be absolutely perfect. And so these first 3, while I love them, they also give me a little PTSD. So
okay, so next we have With This Ring and Ivy Take.
okay, so where is it? Right here. Also, all of these that we've talked about so far, we still have copies on the website, and we do of these ones as well. So With This Ring and Ivy Take by Natasha Knight. This is when I started using an illustrator that does quite a few of our books, and I was just in love. We actually scrapped and went back to the drawing board with these covers 3 or 4 different times because we could not get them right. I love the gold foiling flower petals on here. So I love Natasha. We've gotten really close with Natasha. This is actually the first time too that we were able to, I started working with our character artists that I work with quite a bit. So there are several vellums inside each of these. And Natasha actually connected me with these artists out of Italy, because these were some that she had done by them, and then gave us to use in the book as well. So we had our own made too. But these are a mafia adjacent story. This is about our hero who kidnaps our heroine on her wedding day. She murders all of her brothers who are holding her. She's being forced to marry somebody she doesn't want to anyway, and he kidnaps her for revenge on her family, murders her brothers, keeps her youngest brother, but he keeps her prisoner, and then he takes her back to his estate. And we find out that his family, when he was young, he's got a little bit of amnesia going on. Have you read these ones yet?
No.
Well, there's amnesia in
on
these.
my list.
Yes. Okay. So he's got some amnesia going on because when he was younger, his family was attacked and they were all brutally murdered. And he ended up getting shot. He either got shot in the head or hit his head or something. He'd been in the hospital in a coma for quite a while, and now he has some amnesia about that. There is a sister or a young girl who's actually gone missing that the family is looking for, and his brother Dante did survive. And so it's just him and Dante, and they are looking for revenge, and they believe that her family are the ones that hurt his family. So these ones have 3 or 4 vellums. I think it's 2 or 3. No, I want to say 2 in each book. We actually have a mine has a dent. Dagnabbit. I gotta fix that. We have a recipe, because a lot of the book there talks about creme brulee and burnt cream. Her eyes look like burnt cream, and so Natasha had a family recipe for this burnt cream, and that is also included in the book.
Will you make that for me?
I don't know that I can make burnt cream.
I know that sounds challenging.
It really does.
Okay, and then next is both of you and I share a mutual
before that
top read. What?
I think this one's on the add-on list, but because Dante's Vow goes with it, maybe we should talk about Dante's Vow with this one.
Okay, I thought you wanted to do the add-on list separate.
Yeah, but I feel like this should be with the book.
That's fine.
I mean, it really should.
Go for it.
Okay, so Dante's Vow is the 3rd book in that series. It is a standalone, but it is interconnected. So this is about Dante, who is the brother to the hero and heroine for the first 2 books. And he has been searching for the heroine of this book for years. She was the maid's daughter, and she survived the attack. Now, they're told that it's their sister. The people who kidnapped her and have kept her as a captive thought that she was the little sister to these guys, and so they treat her as such. But she's also been she's kept as in a sex ring kind of thing, like she's a slave, like a sex slave. And so he actually finds her, and he finds her chained to a bed and being used, and so he murders that person and he rescues her and he takes her home. Now Dante is scarred and he is wounded. This happens in one of the first 2 books. He actually loses an eye, so he has, or he doesn't necessarily lose it, but it's damaged, so he wears an eye patch. But he is in love with this girl, but she is very broken and she is very damaged because of everything that she went through. And so this is basically her story of healing. And I don't, where is it? I love this. There is a scene that this comes from. This is just a gorgeous, like if you've read the book, you know what this is from. And I just, oh, so emotional. So, okay, next.
Okay, so next is a trilogy that you and I both have rated pretty high on our like all-time favorites.
Yes.
And that is 9 Minutes by Beth Flynn.
Yes.
And so the first 2 books you've done, the third book will be an add-on at a later date. It has not been announced yet. I see this question all the time over in the Coveted Cover group, so we'll just get that out of the way right now.
It is planned. It doesn't have a date. I'm assuming sometime in 2027 it will come. Basically, here's the deal. We talk about this all the time. I have a lot. There's a lot going on, and I already have the artist. We have the edges already done. Like it's a whole thing. Like those things are done. The artist hasn't. She hated me doing these covers. The hands were very difficult for her, and she cried a lot over them. And so I was trying to give her a little bit of a break. But we are doing the third book. It just probably be sometime in 2027. It's on my list for 2027. So anyhow, these ones, like the way these turned out, oh my gosh. So the edges are some of my favorites. Just so we know. So the time plays a huge role in these books. The chess pieces and this eventually when you have the third, you'll be able to see the whole chess piece, and then this scene will continue on over here. But these books, I love this story. So this is the story of Jenny. It takes place in 1975, I believe. Jenny is 15 years old when she is abducted from a 7-Eleven, and she is abducted by a guy on a motorcycle, and then she is taken. This takes place in the Florida Everglades, and she is taken to this motel, this rundown motel that the MC uses as their compound, and she is given to Grizz, who is the MC president, as a gift by the guy who kidnapped her. And ultimately, she is what takes down the MC. The prologue to this book, we've talked about it several times. The prologue to this book is what got me. It's why I called Mandy and demanded she drops everything and read this book. Because in the prologue, Jenny is at the execution of Grizz, who is our hero. And he is being the state is putting him to death, right? He's getting his lethal injection, and she is sitting there with her husband. And I just, like, even right now, like, I get chills just thinking about it, because you're like, wait a minute, he's supposed to be the hero. And the tried and true rule with romance is that, I mean, some people don't always have this, but for the most part, it's supposed to end in an HEA. And you're like, how the hell does this end in an HEA? And so just stick with it. It will grip you. It will keep you. It will keep you. Yeah, so these ones are artists. I just have to say, like, we use a ton of artists on books. We use several different artists on the books, but our cover artist, Jay, went above and beyond, and she did such a fantastic job. I mean, you have all of the gold foiling, all of the moss foiling, you have the timepiece, which is the time that he actually dies. Like, it's a thing. Like, we read all of our books, and that's something that people say to us all the time. You got the motel in the back. We read all of our books, and we work closely with our authors. And so when you get a book from us, it's something that I've loved. It's something I've enjoyed as a reader. It is something that, like, our authors they're along for the ride. So they see all the pieces, they sign off on them. And all of these are a labor of love. So I don't know though what I want to do on the third cover. Like, we need to have the hand, but I don't know what the hand's going to hold. They all have to match. So these are the problems that I have that keep me up at night. And these are still available. There's only a few that are available, but these are still available in the sale.
Next, we have Where There's a Will and There's a Way by Ember Hughes, which is also Daisy Jane's dark romance author name.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're talking, I can take off my dust
jacket.
jackets.
Okay.
So I'll show you the dust jacket.
Yeah, I'll tell you about these. These ones are really fun because the cover, the actual hardcover, is a faux leather, and it's a distressed leather, and I had never seen anything like that before. So yeah, and we got this because the artist that I worked with for this one had given me the design that's on the dust jacket on the
And it
outside.
feels that way too.
And
it's not just like printed to look like that. It actually feels.
Yeah, and when you hold the books, the leather pieces, the hold the books together, it's a continual scene. But the she'd given me several different designs, and we couldn't choose one, and I just didn't feel like one was powerful enough, so we chose several. So that's how we did that. So this one, I love Daisy writing as Ember. I wish she would write me more in the dark world. But this is a dark cowboy romance. The you have to read these in order, even though there are different hero and heroine for each of the books, but there's still this overarching plot that's happening. The first book is about our hero who has been gone from home for like 10 years. He and the neighbor girl grew up together and were in love, and something happens and they break up when they are in their late teens, and then he takes off for a good 10 years. Now he's back because his father has died. His sister has called him home, and nobody has seen the neighbor girl in years, and he hasn't heard from her. He's still brokenhearted. And so he ends up going over to her family's ranch because her dad is doing some nefarious things. So he breaks in to try and find some paperwork. And that is when he is basically hit over the head and held captive. And he is down in the basement. He is tied up as a captive. When the neighbor girl comes downstairs, she's obviously been mistreated, but she is now mute. She will not talk. And she is she's not in a good situation. Let's just put it that way. So this is a captor-captive dark cowboy where our cowboy is the captive. And then in book 2, the story continues where his sister is the hero or the heroine. And there's just so much more to this story. I love this story. I love these covers. The dust jackets on the inside, those are like my favorite thing. They're also on the end papers. Those are like my favorite things ever. I'm in love with them. So these are some of our favorite, and these ones are not as well known, these stories, but it's one of those things where you just got to trust me. They're worth reading because I love these. So,
and worth owning.
And there are still some of these in the sale as well. Not much, but there's some. Okay.
Next, we have a story that takes place in Alaska, and Alaska was done right, or you would not see this book in the book box. And that is The Wild by Kay Webster. And then The Free is also in this one, but we'll talk about The Wild first, and then we'll go on to The Free. I love the pink.
Yes, I do too. I mean, I was really, I do. I love it. So these, we are a dark and taboo book box, and this is probably like the tabooest of the taboo, as far as, this was one of the very first taboo books that came out. Because I am an Alaskan, I wanted to make sure that these books represented Alaska. So this one, because this book takes place in the summertime in Alaska, we have the Land of the Midnight Sun on this one, where you can see that it gets dusk. It's actually pretty dang dark for Alaska. It doesn't really get that dark. But anyhow, this is a very taboo story. It is about Reed and what's her name? My brain just short-circuited. Devin. Reed and Devin.
Yes.
And they moved to Alaska. Reed is her father, and her father and her mother and her moved to Alaska when she is 17. And they're going to live on this property, and they're going to build a home there, and they're moving up in a travel trailer. And there's some tension between the mom and Reed. There's some things going on there. And one night after they get to the property where they're at, tragedy strikes, and it leaves Devin and Reed alone in the wilderness with no outside contact, and they have to rely on each other. Yes, it is very taboo. What?
The vellum inserts are not appropriate to be shown on our channel.
No, this one actually is my first one that I had some NSFW put in here. I don't care to have I am not a huge NSFW person. I don't want somebody to, I don't mind if it's slightly NSFW. I just don't care to have that, because I think that a lot of the times people focus on the fact that there is smut in these books and that they become smut books, and that's not, this is a whole friggin' plot. Like, there's a huge plot in these books, and it drives me nuts. So I don't like to focus on that, but I will put, sometimes I'll have them in there. It depends on the book. These books are so crazy, you couldn't get away with not having it in there. Let's just put it that way. So there is some on here that I can't show. I can show the first one, which is the tragic situation that happens there, and it's these colors because it's late at night. But, and we can show, you know, the back end paper. But that is what The Wild is for. I love this. I love the design that our artist did. We used a new artist for me on this one, and it's just, oh, so pretty, so pretty. So then with that one, we have the free. And these, again, I think there's still some of these left in the sale. Not very many. I think we're down to like less than 20, but there's not that many. This is my favorite because it's nighttime and winter in Alaska. And so this is the story of Atticus, who is the guy that Reed in book 1 actually bought the property from, that they move on to. And so Atticus is visiting Reed and Devin a few years down the road. And he is an ex-football player. He lives in Alaska. And one of the young girl, they find a young girl in the first book, and they don't necessarily know her age. But her name is Eve, and she absolutely loves fruit. Fruit is the thing. That's how they get her to do anything, because she's been raised feral in the woods, and in a really horrible situation. And she comes to them one day. She's been injured by a bear. She's had a bear attack. And then that is when he takes her home and to get her better. But she has a thing for him. I can show
one of the inserts.
Yeah, that's when she's testing all the food in the refrigerator. She has a thing for him, for Atticus. She really likes Atticus. She's attracted to Atticus. Atticus is attracted to her, but he is unsure of her age. He doesn't know if she's 14, 16, 18. And every time he asks her, she's kind of like, yep, that's what I am, because she thinks that's what he wants to hear. And so he's trying to stay away from her because he's, he is not sure how old this girl is. And she looks pretty daggone young. Plus, she's been through a lot of trauma. So this is their story. Okay, what's next?
The Devil of Dublin.
Okay.
And the Devil himself.
Okay. I love these books. These are probably one of my, well, up until recently, my most popular books. I love the edges on these. These ones are sold out. We do not have any more copies of these. We don't have overstock at all. Like, they sold out within a couple minutes when we had a couple overstock. So these books, I love these. The audio is freaking amazing on these. There is three vellums in each. There's one of the hero, one of the heroine, and then one of them together. And then you also have the end papers, which I absolutely love these end papers. So I use several different artists on these. The back end paper is just foiled. But so this is about, these take place in Ireland. They are full of Irish folklore and fairy tales. And so the first book is about our Darby, who is a young girl. When she goes to visit her grandpa in Ireland, her parents have gone through a divorce, and it's just her and her mom, and they go to visit her grandpa in Ireland. And her grandpa tells her stories of the fairy circles and, all of these mythic tales that are told in Ireland. She's in Cork, Ireland, I believe, when this happens. So her grandpa has a sheep farm. And so one day her grandpa tells her these stories, and she decides she's going to go out and she's going to find herself a fairy circle with the bluebells out in the wilderness behind grandpa's home on the farm. And so that is what she does. And when she gets out there, she actually stumbles across a cottage, a stone cottage that is falling apart, which is what's on the cover of this one. And inside that cottage, she finds a very emaciated little boy, and that is Kellen. Kellen is mute. He's definitely been through some trauma, and he and her play potions. They play Harry Potter together, which is that first scene that I showed you guys of them playing. He uses his shoe as their cauldron. He has been hurt. She can tell he has a cut on his lip, and she tries to heal it. And that one interaction endears her to him. And then we see where she comes back every summer, and when she's there, she spends time with Kellen. And then something happens that keeps her away from Ireland. And when that happens, she hears that Kellen has been killed in a fire. And then she comes back after her grandpa passes away for her grandpa's funeral, and she finds out that things that she believes, she comes back with her fiance, who is a dick. And she finds out that things that she believed are not necessarily the case. This is mafia adjacent. They're running from the mafia in this one. So let's just leave it with that.
Okay, so then we're at books that are still in.
Did we do this? We didn't do this one.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so The Devil Himself is the second one. It is, you have to read book 1 to read book 2. I'm just gonna say this because I don't want to give anything away. This is a different hero and heroine, but there are a lot of my alpha readers. We have a team that reads for us, or like we read all the books and we have them read it and then them tell us their favorite scenes and give us some ideas, like to help us brainstorm some things. And they all love Devil of Dublin. They were all pissed at me when they read The Devil Himself for the first half. When you pick this book up, I know it's rough. Just keep reading and just trust me. This one also takes place in Ireland, in a different part of Ireland. They're on the run. They're running from something. He is Russian. She is Irish. And just trust me. Just trust me. And again, in this one, there's also 3 vellums. So don't forget to check out the vellums. Okay.
Okay, so now we're at books that are going to start shipping here next week.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start with Shaw by BJ Alpha.
So we'll put pictures of them up here. I actually get to see these. You guys will watch this video after they're already here, but for me, they don't come until tomorrow, and I'm so excited to get them. Shaw is the start of her Storm trilogy, and I had a really hard time. If you guys have been here for a hot minute, you know that BJ is a friend of mine, and choosing a BJ book was next to impossible. So we went with Shaw because it was, at the time when I signed BJ 2 years prior to this starting, that was one of the newer series that she had, and I liked the series, so I chose Shaw. Shaw is about our heroine who is a mafia princess, and this is a billionaire romance. It is not necessarily a mafia romance, but she is a mafia princess. She knows that she's supposed to keep her virginity for this mafia husband that her dad, or that her brother is going to make her marry. Her brother is the head of the family's mafia, and she doesn't want to do that. So she's in Vegas one night. She sees this gorgeous guy in the casino. They end up having a one-night stand, and she ends up getting pregnant. And then they don't exchange names. She calls him Blue because of his eyes. He calls her Red because of her dress, which you'll see the red and blue is a theme that we carried on here. And then it's like 6 months down the road, 5 or 6 months down the road, Shaw is at work when this guy, Luca, busts in. And he is the brother to our heroine, and he's a dick, and he is the head of the mafia. And he's like, you're going to marry my sister or I'm going to shoot you. And like, you got her pregnant. And here she comes in waddling with, with her little baby belly, and they're forced into an arranged marriage. Neither one of them want it. He actually has a girlfriend, and it's like a whole thing. So there's that one.
Okay. Then we have Veiled in Hate.
Okay. So I always say you should read Shaw. You don't have to read Shaw before you read Veiled in Hate. They are in different worlds. It's a different thing. But as I mentioned before, in Shaw, that is where we first meet Luca. Luca is our hero in Veiled in Hate. And so I think if you read Shaw first, you get a little bit of a feel of how much of a dick Luca is. So I mentioned that Luca is the head of his family's mafia. So he is not the head of the mafia in general. He is just a part of their family's mafia. And so we find out in Veiled in Hate that there has been this war going on between these 2 rival families. And it is because the heroine of this book, which I cannot remember her name off the top of my head, but her brother killed Luca's sister, and that started a war in the mafia. And the mafia, they have these 2 families have lost so many people because of this war, and they are just over it. And so they, the 2 capos come together and they say, well, in order to stop all of this killing, you 2 are getting married. And so they are forced into a marriage, and they hate each other. This is the ultimate hate to love situation, because they really hate each other. They are enemies. And she believes he killed her brother. He believes her brother killed her sister, or his sister. And so they're forced into this. He brands her when he gets her. Like he burns her behind her neck, like he brands her. He is not a good guy. He says that he will never mix their blood, but they have to have a baby in order, like that's part of the deal. But he refuses to mix their blood by creating a child, and it is like, I love this book. Becky, if you watch this, when are we getting audio? I really need audio for this one. So yeah. So that will be coming. If you guys are part of it, that's on its way. Hopefully. I have to inspect them first. So.
Okay. And then last for the regular subscription box is the Cloister series.
Okay, so the Cecilia Aaron's Cloister. So this one is 3 books. The books are not very long in general. So we decided, normally in our box, there's always 2 books. In the Nocturna box, there's always 2 books. The Etheria just has the one. That's the fantasy box. But Nocturna always has the 2, which is why it's a little more expensive. But it, I was trying to figure out how to do this. I didn't want to have that extra add-on item, especially when the books are not terribly long. And so we decided to do this as a bind up. So this is a dark romance that's set in a cult setting. And I was like, stained glass. We have to do stained glass. We have to make this this is just going to be perfect. So this is a bind up of all 3 books in one. And it is a stained glass cover. On the image you guys are seeing, the lines for the stained glass look darker than what they're actually a dark silver, like a really dark silver. And they are, it depends on the light, like how bright they show up. But they, because these are digital mock-ups, so they don't always match in color. But they are raised, they are embossed like on like the devil himself, where they're raised, they're lifted so that you get that stained glass effect. So this is the story of our heroine, who is Delilah. She lost her sister a year ago. Her sister joined this cult and then was murdered. And nobody has answers. And so she is going to go find the answers. And the way she's going to do that is she is going to join this cult. Have you read this one yet?
No. It's on my list. I'm creating a list while you're talking.
Okay, so she is going to go. So this starts with the Maiden. The Maiden is the first book. So she's going to go join this cult and become one of their 12 maidens that they have, like this crop of maidens every year. And these are girls who are virgins, who are chosen by the prophet. And they are chosen to, I don't even know what they're supposed to do. Like, I don't know I can't remember what BS he feeds them as to why they get to be chosen one. But basically, the prophet grooms them then to infiltrate, like they end up marrying senators and, mayor, like important people that then he can use as pawns on his chessboard, because then they come back to him and tell them what's really happening. And so, Delilah is chosen as one of these maidens, and when you are a maiden, you were given a protector. And she is given Adam, who is the eldest son to the prophet, as a protector. He is a cruel guy, and he basically, they have to watch over these maidens. They can do whatever they want to them, and there's a lot of training going on. The only rule is they can't break their hymen. So they can assault them in any way, shape, or form as long as that stays intact. And so he becomes her protector. I'm using that very loosely, but ultimately she needs to find out what is happening in this cult. And it's very crazy. There's a lot happening at this cult. And Adam has his own trauma. So we're just going to keep it at that.
Okay, so that wraps up everything in the subscription box that comes when you are subscribed. So now we're going to move on to the extras that you could do as we already talked about the add-ons. So these are extra ones that you could order yourself, like pre-order and get. Yep. So we have the Bargainer series.
So I don't have that one with me because we are doing a reprint of the Bargainer. When we got those, this is by Laura Thalassa. That was when we got them, we realized it was for Fangirl LA, not Fangirl. Oh my goodness, Romanticon LA. And so this was an event exclusive, and we started realizing that these are big books. This is a bind up. This is like 1,200 pages, and one little tiny dollop of glue on the spine is not going to keep the spine intact. And so they were all starting to fall apart. And so the printer is actually reprinting them. They are on a boat right now. They're headed towards us to get them back out to people. So everybody who pre-ordered them gets them. We'll get them again. This one, I don't know if we'll have extras. I'm not 100% sure. We'll find out here in a few weeks. Stacy knows all this. She's kind of in charge of this one a little bit more. But I did read this series. It is a fantasy series, a romantasy series. I love Laura Thalassa, by the way. She's amazing. I love working with her too. But this is about Calypso, who is our heroine, and she has been making deals with the Bargainer, who is like a fae kind of guy, for years. And it's every time she makes a deal with him, she gets this bead. And so she has a bracelet that kind of wraps up her arm of all of these favors that he has done for her. She was in an abusive situation. He took out that situation. And so then she owes him a favor. And so now she is an adult. So this started when she was young, and now she is an adult, and he is coming back to collect on those favors. And like the first one is he wants a kiss. Like there's all of these things. Like, they've been friends, like they have been together. He has visited her in her dorm at college. He's like they've been friends, but the Bargainer always collects. And so she owes him a hell of a lot of favors. And now he's back to collect each one. So that's all I'm going to say about that one. It's hard to really describe it. And I want to say, do I have my Bargainer? Hold on. I actually have. I have mine here. I don't know if it's going to fall apart. I haven't pulled it out since I got back from Romanticycon and we realized that it was falling apart because I've just been very careful with it. So let me just show you really quick. So this is the slipcase, and it has like this metallic sheen on it with right there. You see the rainbow on the wings.
Mm-hmm.
And then I haven't checked mine. And then this is the book itself as a bind up. And then what Stacy did when she was designing this is that each book, each chapter header, yeah, mine's falling apart. I'll show you guys in a second. Each chapter header for each book is different, where there's like different clues in the chapter headers for each of the books, or for each of the, there's 4 books. It's the 4-book bind up. And I'll show you guys what I'm talking about when I say, like, yeah, you can see that this one's different too. There are vellums in here as well. I think there's 3, but see how it is falling. Like if I was to just wiggle this, it would completely fall out because there's one little tiny dollop of glue that is holding it together. And then it is falling apart here and here. And so that was a structure design flaw. And they're reprinting them because of that. Just makes me mad because mine's signed. And they didn't come signed if you weren't at the event.
Okay.
So, okay.
Death Valley by Karina Halley.
Oh, I love this book. Okay. So this book was supposed to ship sometime this summer. I'm expecting it I'm hoping by the end of August. This is a very intricate design because as you guys can see in the images that I'll post here, it's a layered design. So there's 3 to 4 layers depending on which one we chose, because we're trying to figure out structurally which one works best, of cardboard of the cover, and then the book on the cover of the book. So this is very intricate. Our printers haven't done anything like this before, and they want to make sure that it's perfect. So they actually did 2 mock-ups for us of 2 different ways that we can execute this design. And then they shipped them to me. I should have them this week. And then I want to be able to hold them and touch them and feel them and see structurally which one feels better. The interior has already been printed for these. They just need the covers. So once that happens, once I give them the go ahead that this is the way we're going to go, then they just need to print the covers, and it'll only be a matter of a few weeks before they get them on the boat to ship them to us. So I'm hoping by the end of August we have these. So they are still on time. They're just, I don't want them to fall apart, and it's a new thing. So yeah. This is one of my favorite books ever. I love this. This is like if Yellowstone and the Game of Thrones White Walkers had a baby, you would get this book. It's very suspenseful. It's very spooky. It kept me up at night. Thank God I read it in the summertime when it was like lighter around here. Otherwise I would have had to put it down once it got dark. This is about our heroine who is missing, like looking for her missing sister. She is an FBI agent. Aubrey is her name. And she finds out that her sister had always had this, there's a tie to the Donner Party here. Like this takes place in present time. The first chapter does start out with a Donner Party situation, and then we go into Aubrey's chapters. But her sister has always said that the mountains have called to her. She's been obsessed with the Donner Party. And so 3 years earlier, her sister went on a hike with her boyfriend into the Sierra Nevadas and wanted to go see, the Donner Party area, like where that happened in that pass at Truckee Lake. And so she finds out that there's this rancher who also is a tracker, and he has saved somebody, a missing hiker, a few days earlier. And so she is taking a leave of absence from the FBI because she's obsessed with finding out what happened to her sister. She's having dreams of her sister. And so she goes and she hunts down Jensen, who is our tracker. And she basically offers him like $500,000 because he is very reluctant to go up into those mountains, and he is very reluctant to help her. But he is losing his farm, his ranch, and so he can't say no to the money. And so she bribes him into taking her into the mountains to find out what happened to her sister. And he keeps telling her, like, there's no way she survived. And she's like, I know that she's not going to be alive, but I know she's going to be up there. And so we start getting some spooky stuff along the way, and it's paranormal. Oh, it's just so good. It's just so good. So I love it. It's like one of my top reads ever. So do with that what you will. Yeah. Okay.
Next is Honeysuckles by January Rain and Snapdragons by January Rain.
Okay. So these, do you have your dust jackets on yours? Okay, so these have glow in the dark dust jackets. So you can see they come off. Mandy has them with them off. Mine are on. So these have glow in the dark dust jackets. These are the first 2 books in her Monster Stalker series. We actually have books 3 and 4 that we've announced for Fangirl book signing that they will be there. And then after that, which I'll show you, I'll put those up here in a minute. But for Fangirl, we are collabing with January, and after Fangirl, then we will have some available for our subscribers to order. So people can complete this. So these are a part of her Monster Stalker series. These are basically about people who have been abducted by really bad people, and they've been experimented on and spliced with monster DNA. So these are really fun, but they are stalkers. And so in the first book, we have Demi and Creed. Demi runs her grandma's diner in this little town, and Creed has been spliced with vampire and kraken and some other DNA. And he can smell his beloved, which is what the vampires refer to as their mate. And so after he breaks out of the facility, he ends up in this town where he finds Demi, who is, his fated mate. And because he's got like gray skin and scales and some things going on, he kind of keeps himself like a hood over his head when he interacts with her at the diner. But then he starts stalking her, and one thing leads to another. Let's just put it that way. He might drug her. She might be okay with it though, when she's sleeping. And then the second book of that one is Snapdragons. This one's a little more heavy. It's about our heroine who flees an abusive boyfriend and ends up in this town. She gets this house that she is renting, and there's this gargoyle statue out there. Well, that's our hero. He's part gargoyle, part alligator or crocodile, I think, part jellyfish. He's got jellyfish junk, and part vampire. And he is her fated mate. And so this is her story of healing, but like that statue moves and then it comes to life. Oh yeah, he's part ghost, which is what you're seeing right there. He's helping her break down walls as she's dealing with her trauma. So I loved this one as well. Obviously, I have them in the box. I'm not going to put books in here that I don't enjoy. So there's that.
Okay. And next is the infamous book that led to 1 Minute Book Recs.
Yeah.
Sticks and Stones by Grace McGinty.
So Mandy doesn't have her dust jacket on there. I have my dust jacket. The dust jacket is like a blue ice that gives you that extra layer of ice, because this is an ice hockey romance. So this is a Why Choose. This is our Why Choose box. This is a hockey romance. This is, the heart is on here because there is a baby in this. Our heroine ends up with full custody of her newborn half baby brother, and the baby has a heart condition. So our heroine in this book, her parents have died in a car accident. She is like 23, and she gets a knock on her door one day, and it is a social worker. and a police officer who've come, or her lawyer and a social worker who've come to the door to tell her that she has a baby brother who's about 6 weeks old with a heart condition. The baby's mom has just passed away. She had like an aneurysm in her sleep. And if she doesn't take custody of this baby, then the baby will go into the system. And so she, takes a little bit of time to think about it and realizes that she can't let her half brother go into the system. And so she, accepts full custody and then finds out that there are people there's a group of guys. Two of them are hockey players for the same team, and one of them is like their lawyer best friend. There are three guys that were in foster care with the baby's mom, and they are basically like brothers to the baby's mom, and they want custody of the baby, so they take her to court for custody. In the end, she gets it, but they then talk to her about moving to Ann Arbor where they're at so they can help with the baby. And I love it because we see what that would be like in this, where she's thrown into a situation where she's 23. This isn't her baby, and she's exhausted. Like overnight, she's a mom to a newborn, and it's just kind of crazy.
And time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then also was Trist in the Dark by Grace McGinty.
One of my favorite Omega verses. This one is a lottery situation. Trist is an Omega, and she is basically, when you hit a certain age, the government forces you to have a lottery, and that lottery determines the men that she will end up with in her pack. And when it stops is up to the government. So she is pissed off the government people, and they just keep this lottery going, going, and going. So the first guy, and it goes by, like, if you are an unmated man and you're not married, you don't have like a fiance or anything, like your social security number is in this lottery, and each night they do this drawing. And so like the first guy who's drawn is a bisexual man who has a partner, and because he's not married, then he has no choice. He has to come and become a part of the pack with her, and the way that they do that is by swapping fluids. So they do have to have sex that night, consummate their relationship that night. Then like the next guy who's drawn is I don't remember who the next guy was. I think it's an alpha guy. But basically she ends up eventually with an alpha who rejects her, and they end up going to court to fight this whole battle. And don't worry, the partner of the first guy, he does get to come along too at some point. So I promise you there is a happy ending with that.
Okay, and then we are on to the last one, which is the Frozen Fate trilogy.
So excited for this one. We were the first box to get to do the Pam's Frozen Fate trilogy, and she trusted me with this because these are my book babies just as much as anybody else's. These are chock full. I had like, I don't know, 10, 12 artists working on this cover, on these books. It was insane how many people we have working on them. They are filled with vellums left, right, and sideways, art, chapter or character art all over. And trust me, they're done correctly because Alaskan, and I was the beta reader, one of the beta readers. I was the Alaska beta reader for this one. So this is the story of Frankie. Frankie is kidnapped. She is a nurse in Sitka when she is kidnapped by this crazy guy, Denver. And Denver is taking her, he kidnaps her and takes her to the Alaskan bush up to the Arctic Circle, where he has his boys, is what he calls them, which are his 3 grown sons. And he is taking Frankie up there to his 3 grown sons. And this is taking her from her husband, who she's just had a big fight with, to the 3 grown sons. This is a story of survival. It is captive. It is why choose. It is gut wrenching, and there are turns left, right, and sideways. You cannot predict how this one's going to go. But these actually are coming this week as well with BJ Alpha's books. So BJ's have to go out first and then these, but they will be going out here within the next couple of weeks. We just have to inspect them. They're gorgeous. They have this layer over the top of the hard case that give them like the starlight design. It's called Starlight. It's a starlight treatment, but it makes it look like compact, like glistening snow. And they're gorgeous. Okay.
Well, there it is.
There it is.
Coveted Cover Deep Dive.
Yep. We have so much more coming and things that I want to tell you, but I can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can always watch our channel. 1 Minute Book Recs is a great way to get hints on anything upcoming in Coveted Cover.
Yep.
And if you are looking for more dark romance, we have tons of videos. We have a whole playlist. And we also just recently did our ultimate guide to dark romance. If dark romance isn't quite your thing, we have a gray romance one that we did too, where it's dark romance, but on the lighter side as well. So we have lots of different book recs over here.
Yeah. And I do want to say we'll be announcing the 1st of August. Within the first 2 weeks of August, we'll start to tease and then announce the next box and the next author. And it is the darkest I've ever done at this point. So I'm really excited for these books, and they are gorgeous. They're so gorgeous. So every time I say that about every book when it comes out, I'm like, oh, this is my new favorite. This is my new favorite. This is my new favorite, because they just blow me out of the water every time. So, yep.
Well,
So
make
definitely get on that
sure,
wait list.
yes, get on the wait list and make sure you hit that subscribe button to our channel so you never miss out on any of the good book recs. And if you're interested in channel membership, that is one way to support us. You can check that out as well. And for those of you who are captor or captives, thank you so much. We appreciate your support.
Yeah. All
And
right.
check back for new videos from us on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and a lot of times Wednesdays.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.